Hello there, and welcome back to our Monday live stream. And today is actually the first day or the first Monday in quite a few months that we are actually not doing the ASP.NET Core for Beginners course, since we have finished that. So that's wrapped up, I would say. And yeah, I guess it was a very nice one for a lot of people. But now it's time to work on our API again. And the idea behind that is I would also like to start very soon also building a frontend for that, of course, with Blazor WebAssembly. And to be honest, I can't wait to do that. But in order to do that, actually, we have to kind of like finish up some things here or add some new features. So let's get into the repository. No new contribution, unfortunately, so far. And I guess we were working on not this one, but I guess on this one. So this was the story that we were working yesterday, and I guess we have implemented point 1 and 2, and we have also managed to test that. And I was saying that today we need to implement this point 3 and maybe also implement something like, I don't know, it's not here in the issue, but I guess it might be useful. For instance, when you are getting a list of posts, or maybe also when you get a list of posts, maybe just return not the entire interaction information that we do right now for one single post, but maybe the counts for each interaction type. I guess that might be something interesting. Like when you see a lot of posts in your feed, for instance, you then also see a lot of information about, could you lower the music volume? Yeah, I forgot that. I'll turn that off. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I totally forgot that. Yesterday I actually did turn it off when we started, but today I forgot that. So sorry for that. Sorry for that, and thank you very much for bringing it up. I really count on you in such situations. Okay. So let's maybe then get started. This is what we have implemented yesterday, which is the get post interactions when you get the interactions for a post. And then this is the add post interaction. This is where user actually wants to interact with a post, could send, I don't know, like, dislike, or things similar to that. But then yeah, here the thing is that we take user profile ID from the token, because we already work with JSON Web Tokens for each request, and that's actually an extension method that we have created for the HTTP context. And here we can get, for instance, different type of claims that we have, and we set 2 custom claims on each token when we generate it. We set the user profile ID, and we use that, of course, as we just seen, for instance, to actually understand which is the author of a certain interaction. And then here is this get identity use claim value. This one I guess we are not using yet, but yeah, probably will be using also. So that's the entire point of that one. Cool. So let's maybe, I don't know, just get started with that, and let's see how things go and what else do we need. So we'll have a new one, public async task of action result. Okay, and that would be how remove post interaction. Okay, let's just think for a minute what we'll need here. That would be accessible, of course. For that one, we'll use an HTTP delete. We try actually to stick to the REST principles as far as possible. Probably later, when we'll go into a lot of task-based actions that somebody might do, probably will not be able to 100% stick to the REST principles. But for now, I guess we still can do that. And then a route. We need a route for that. I guess this let's just take a look here, because I don't remember from yesterday. It's interaction by ID. I guess we'll use that one. Okay. So the route would be API routes post not interaction by ID, like that. Now this one will contain in the route also the ID of the post, and I guess also the ID of interaction. And actually, I guess here we will be in a very fun situation because okay, so we'll have first the post ID and then we'll have also the interaction ID. So why I say that this is fun, because when we have these GUIDs in route params, we have actually created an action filter that kind of like validates if those strings are real or are for real parsable to GUIDs. And in case not, of course, we generate already an error response and the code execution doesn't even get here. And here, theoretically, when we say here this validate GUID, we have to provide a string, which would be like the key of what we actually want to look into, or in this case, the key of the route param that we want to use. And we have created a constructor for this one, and this constructor right now actually accepts only one key. But now we are in the situation that we actually also need a constructor that would accept two keys. And I guess we will need to change a little bit things here. Because in this case, probably that would not be sufficient if this is a string. So it might not be sufficient if this is a string here. We might need here a collection of strings or something like that. I guess, yeah. So yeah, let's try to refactor this. So it will be a private list of string. Let's make it a list. And E, and that would be equal to, actually we can even set that in the constructor, I guess. And let's maybe just call it like that. So we'll have then keys equals new list of string. So that would actually do that, I guess. And then we can keys.add. Here, this is the first key. Okay, and then I guess we might even create a new constructor in which we will have maybe string key1, string key2. I guess what we'll do here is we'll add both list keys.add and then key2. Okay, so in this case we should be covered here. So in this case, I guess we need to also reconsider what we do here. So action arguments try get value. So what we want to do is probably have for each or something like that. Because the idea is that if you have two keys and one is correct and the other not, we still have to return an kind of like an error response, because it's still a bad request. So let's have a for each here, and for each key we want to actually do some stuff there. Okay, now what stuff do we want to actually do here? I guess we can just put this here in the for each. So that would be here k, and here that would also be the k. Okay, good. So I guess right now, I guess that should still work. hopefully it should work. But we can actually find this out very, very easily by, I guess, running the application out of our GUID. Okay, but where, okay, we need to provide this because it's part of the try parse. No, but here actually, okay, I guess we'll need something else here, because the idea is that here, if the first one is correct, it will simply return, I guess. And then it will actually not check the second one anymore. So I guess we'll have to kind of rethink that. Okay, so I guess let's var let's make this just a bool. Is error, and but false is the default, so we don't really need to bother with that. So what we'll do here is, I guess we will take this out from here. We'll move it outside of the for each. Now the only thing that we will do here, so if action arguments try get value, so it means that if we are not able to actually get the value of one of those, we really don't want to return. But I guess that might even be an error condition, because if I specify in the attribute constructor that I want to have two keys, if I don't find one, then the application will fail if it arises in our controller actions. So this case has error equals true, and in this case we'll do exactly the same thing. Has error equals true. Okay, and then we'll do here just if has errors. In the end, what's the problem with you? Local variable might not be initialized before accessing. Okay. Yeah, let's just get rid of that error. Okay. It was actually a warning, not an error. And in this case, if it has errors, we just want to do that. So just return the error, and else we just want to return, and yeah, I guess that would be it. Okay, or this return flow jump statement. Okay, so it's redundant. Okay, then if you say that it's redundant, I guess that should still okay. Where do we have errors here? Okay, because here we don't have k. Yeah. So I guess we will have to actually refactor this. Okay, let's think this through, because the only thing that we need to, yeah, because we already have this API errors, so we can add the errors to each of them. And the only thing that we need to do, because we are generating this response actually here. I'm thinking what would be the best way to proceed here. I'm not really sure about that, because I would like to keep this message somehow. Maybe, I don't know, let's try to do like this. API error equals new API error response. Okay, so we have here an object. Try catch. I'm not sure that try catch would actually help here, because that nothing will throw an exception here. So I'm not sure exactly if try catch would help there. Okay, so we have this thing here, and the only thing that we need to do here is maybe just say API error. I guess we'll do something like that. So it would be API error dot status code, because we just need to generate the response now. We can populate the errors in that for each. API error dot status code we already have. Status phrase, that would be something like bad request, because the errors would be in the body and there will be the exact message. So API error, what do we still have here? Timestamp, and that would be equal to datetime now. Okay, and I guess we don't need that anymore. Now the only thing is that this line here will move here. And I guess right now it should be okay. So let's go through this once again. So first of all, we have here these two different constructors, and we have a list of string that defines our keys. In each of the constructor, we add a key or two keys, in this case, to the list. And then in on action executing, we have this handle error equals false, and we create a new instance of API error. But then we do the for each, and then if we don't find a key with a specified value, that will throw an error probably down the line in the application. So we mark this as error as being true. And if we don't, or if you are not able to parse this to a GUID, then we also set that to true. And we also add this error actually to, but okay, right now, I guess the problem is, so if this, I guess we need to change that a little bit, because actually the error would be added right now in both circumstances. So I guess those two actually, they need to be together here in the if body. So it should be something like that. Okay. Because if we are not able to parse, then we want to add the error. So in that case, okay, in that case. But in that case, probably for the first if, we would have to add a separate or a dedicated error message. So yeah, let's do just that. Let's do just that. Let's go with this on this other line. And yeah, let's, because here, first of all, has error equals true. But then what we want to also do here is add a certain error message. But in this case, the message should be something that the key was not found. Okay. Even though, I'm thinking right now, the idea is that these keys, these are provided by us, by the developers. So maybe, I don't know, right now I'm thinking maybe we should just actually skip that. The idea of this attribute should be, okay, if I find a GUID in the specified key, I will try to validate it, but if not, well, then you have provided something wrong, so that's not my thing at all. So I guess we'll just out for value. But the idea is that we use this value here. Okay. Okay, because we really need to use that value. Okay. I'm thinking right now. Okay, if you also have some ideas, because we actually use this value here, so we can just create a response here. Okay. I guess we'll do something else. I guess we'll just get rid of the entire if, because it actually doesn't make sense, I guess, to have all the if there. Maybe we can just have this in one single expression, something like that. Um, so it would be then if um, uh, context dot action arguments dot try get value. What did it do here? Could be something like that. Okay, and here we'll provide k, and then out var value. Okay, out var value, something like that. And then we can actually get rid about all this type of thing. So the idea is that in that case, at line 28, we can simply return. Okay, but we cannot simply return, because that return okay, I guess you might be right that we could simply return. Not okay. Could be something like that. So Rana, I guess you were right that we could simply return, but here I guess I'm not sure if that would be the most correct way to do that. But I guess we can actually make everything in one single if statement, because these two kind of like go together. So we want that hmm. So the idea is that first we need to actually try this value, okay? Now the problem is that if we don't find that value, there is actually no reason to actually try to parse that. So in that case, I don't know. Seems like seems like it could be right here. I guess in this format, so having everything in one single if statement, no, it doesn't really seem that bad, I guess. Then we can even generate the error. So yeah, that's kind of like how that works. You know what? Let's put a breakpoint here. I don't know, and let's get rid of this error. Right now, I guess we shouldn't have any errors. So let's run the application and let's try it out. Let's run the application and try it out. Okay, so it started here. Of course, we still need to first authorize ourselves, because otherwise we won't be able to actually do anything here. Just provide a password, and that should work. Yesterday it worked, everything perfectly. The first call every time takes longer. You know, the entire database stuff. And here we got our JWT token. Make sure that we copy it correctly. I guess that should be it. And yeah, let's authorize ourselves. So authorize, we can close that, don't need it. So we have this API v1 post. Let's try it out. It would actually get us a list of posts. Okay, and we have this post that has this ID here. Okay, so first of all, let's use get by ID. Let's use this one first to have a correct GeoID here, and let's execute. Okay, so we are here in our, let's see, keys in the current context. Okay, why is that not available in the current context? ID. Actually, it's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why Rider doesn't do that. So is okay, try get value and try parse. So now everything was okay. So we actually did go further. Okay, now we actually got into the list stuff. Yeah, that's specific for Rider. It kind of like does this. Get we just got a response back. Now let's don't have this as a valid GeoID and execute it again. So in this case, this one will be okay, but no, still it was not okay. GeoID try parse. Okay, why did that actually go through? So that was the value. Right, because the value should not be correct here. And indeed, we see that we have here in this GeoID variable the default GeoID, which is 00000 and so on. But this try parse, it should have returned actually false. So this try parse, it should have returned false. It would be, this would be true and this would be false. So that's a little bit strange here. Okay, so I guess we'll still go. And of course, here we returned an internal server error. A GeoID should contain 32 digits with 4 database timestamp. Okay. So that error was also generated actually by our application. But I guess it's actually not the one that we have generated here, fortunately. So yeah, let's stop this. Sorry. I guess we have made it too complicated here. So let's go back to the same setup that we had previously. Let's make it easier. So if let's take everything from here. And like that. Then we can just return as you suggested, Rana. No, but not this. Okay. Just return. Okay. Cool. Now we don't have this end. Okay, okay. So something did go totally wrong here. Because here in this if okay, I guess here we are missing a parenthesis, so it would be like that. So in this case, we just return, and then otherwise, we just do this check. And if we have a problem, then we set this has error to true, and we add this to the API error. My idea why I want to do it here in this for each is Actually, because both of the keys could be wrong. And in that case, we still want to actually send back to the requester an error response that would contain actually information about both of the GUIDs that were not in a correct format, I guess. So that should be actually more or less what we want to achieve here. So yeah, let's run the application again and try again. And of course, we will need to log in again to our app. So to generate a valid JWT token. Okay, obviously this kind of like roadblock is not something that I have planned. It just really happened. We have the password here, execute. By the way, if you just can spare 2 or 3 seconds, just let me know where are you watching from. That would be really, really nice. If you're for the first time here to this stream, I am streaming from Romania in Timișoara. That should be the key, and let's authorize ourselves. Authorize. But I think right now we can even leave this browser window open and just restart a Rider or the application in Rider whenever we actually need that. And here we have v1 posts. Okay, we first need to get this here right out. And we did get a list of posts. We just have one right now. Cool. So the idea, India, New Delhi. Oh, it should. I guess it's fairly late in India, Rana. Is it correct? It's fairly late, 1 a.m. Okay. Whoa! Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Let's maybe even bring up a notepad, and let's just copy down here this GUID so that we have it here. Okay. So we got this one. Let's not the post, but the get by ID, and let's try first with the wrong one. So we just remove here 2 digits. That should not be a valid GUID. So we got here into this thing. So if context okay, var value. So this value should be okay. So we have the value. Now this try parse. Okay, but you know, I guess I forgot actually this exclamation mark, because try parse here, but no, because this try parse should actually return true if everything was parsed correctly. Yeah, but it was not parsed correctly. So I guess we just forgot to actually put the exclamation mark there, because that actually returns false right now. So I guess the behavior is correct. So the behavior is correct here. Now the only thing is that we should actually negate that. Because we want to actually do this only if we have an error. So only if the try parse actually is false. So let's start this again. And when the application is started, I guess the browser is already there. So we can just reuse that, and we should even be authenticated. We can close this new one. You can still use this old one. And here we are also authenticated. Okay. The identifier for ID is not correct GUID format. Okay, so that's cool. But I guess, yeah, I guess I didn't start this in debug mode. And this is why we didn't hit the breakpoint. So let's restart it again. But right now, I guess it should work correctly. Okay, so, but not here. Let's just try to execute it once again. Okay, so we hit this breakpoint. Let's iterate through that. So GUID try parse, and in this case, it is false because it cannot really parse that, and we generate this error. And yeah, then if has error, and that's true right now. And I don't know why. Because it's the for each. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just continue, and this should be it. Okay, and let's try also a request with the correct one. So let's do that. So let's do that right now. It would be like that. So we hit this, and in that case, we actually don't have this, and we also don't really need to actually return anything here. So we can just simply continue. And if we go here, we see that we can see the post. Cool. So I guess that's actually what we wanted to achieve right now, more or less. So yeah, we have refactored our GUID validator, which was an action filter that we were having. And right now, the thing is that we can provide either one key or two keys in the constructor. And the reason why we need that is because we here want to actually validate two keys. Let me check again. So the first one is post ID and interaction ID. So let's copy it from here to just make sure that we copy it correctly. Okay. And then we can specify a second one, and the second one, not here, but here, it should be this interaction ID. Okay. Estonia, Christian. Yeah, I guess you also were here yesterday, so thank you very much for joining also today. I'm really, really pleased to see you back here. Thank you very much. By the way, how's the weather in Estonia? I assume it's fairly cold and, I don't know, snow maybe even. Okay, so now as the next step, we have to also think about this remove post interaction. Do we actually need something here as params? We just need to actually bind the route params. So we will have here one string post ID and string interaction ID. And of course, we will I don't know, maybe go on a different line. The cancellation token that will pass in down the line to everyone that is doing async stuff. Okay. Cool. So we don't really have to do a model validation here, so we don't need the validate model attribute that we have right now. Yes, it's snowing, but kind of melting. It's actually pleasant. Okay, that's nice. Here also in Romania, it's actually quite nice from a temperature perspective. Not so nice from the weather itself because it was so windy and rainy, and I don't know, almost it felt like autumn, not winter. But I am of course also waiting for spring. Okay, so we don't need a validate model attribute because we don't have a model to validate here, because all the information that we actually need, we already take from these routing params. Now I'm thinking, I guess we need a post ID and direction. Okay, so let's try post GUID equals GUID.parse. In this case, since if the execution arrives here, then it went through the validate GUID, so it means that everything's correct. So in this case, we can just simply just parse that, because that shouldn't work. And same var interaction ID equals GUID.parse, and then here we'll have the interaction ID. Okay, so that would be fairly okay. Interaction GUID, like that. Okay, and then we'll also need to get the user, because here we will also need to check, for instance, that if I want to remove an interaction, that is the interaction that I have created, so that is not created, that I can remove others' interactions. So we would have to do that check in the handler, of course. So var user GUID, or let's be more specific because we have this user profile here. Let's call it GUID equals. How did we do that here? Let me just go back here. Because we can actually. It's on the HTTP context. Okay. It's that method that we already have. Cool. So right now we would have all the things that we need in our controller. So we can start thinking about our handlers and things that we will need to do here. So first of all, we are here in the posts, but that's contracts. Now that's not where we need to be. We need to be in the application layer, like here. And here we have the commons, and let's create a new one. No. Remove post interaction, that would be the command. So we'll have to implement iRequest, which comes from mediator, and maybe we'll just also return the interaction that we have deleted. So it would be an operation result of post interaction, like that. Let's maybe alt enter and import missing things here. And post interaction, I want to make sure that it's the one from the domain. Yes, it's the one from the domain. So what we need here is GUID public GUID post ID, public GUID interaction ID. Okay, and the public GUID. Although I guess that is not a GUID. What we get here. Oh, that would actually be a string. No, okay. Okay. Local variable of type GUID. Okay, we have done that correctly. Cool. User profile ID. Get set. Okay, and I guess that's all that we need in the command. So we can right now start to create the handler for that. So it would be in the handlers folder. Remove post interaction handler. Okay. Okay, and this would be an iRequest handler, and it will, let me maybe first, not like that. That's strange. So iRequest handler off. Remove post interaction. That would be the command for which we actually want to do that. And it will return once again an operation result of post interaction. Okay. Something like that. And of course, you also need to implement this handle method here. Let's move it down the line here to have everything okay. So what we need here is, of course, the data context. Data context. And we'll need the constructor for that. And we'll also need to inject the data context in the constructor and assign to the field. Cool. Okay. So I see we have some new viewers here. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. And we actually used to do like a small game here. And if you could let me know from where are you watching, that would be totally awesome. I really want to understand who my audience is. Okay, so what do we need to do here? Here there is a bunch of stuff that we need to perform here. Cool. So of course we don't want to throw not implemented exception anymore. So first of all, hello Ronald Schutte. I guess you're from Germany. Am I right, Ronald? Germany or Austria? Or maybe the Netherlands? The Netherlands. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. One of my former managers at Microsoft had the last name Schute, but he was German. That's why my first hunt was Germany. Yeah, and where exactly in Holland? I visited Amsterdam for work, I guess twice, and almost in another life, like 15 years ago. Uh, okay, okay, with this. Oh, okay. Uh, I'm not sure exactly his name. Yeah, I guess it was with U, with umlaut. I guess you're right. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. Cool. So let's come back here, and what we need first of all, var result equals new operation result. Nah, not operating system. Operation result, and the T in our case would be a post interaction. So we already have that, and we can say return result. And in the meantime, we'll do a bunch of different stuff here. Sorry for the distraction. No. I was asking questions, and actually, when I do these live streams, I also like to actually do small talk. So that's actually cool, and I guess that's nice for everybody that's actually watching, because what I want to build here is like a community, so that we start to actually even know each other better, and small talk definitely is a big part of that. So thank you very much for jumping in here. You're from Zwolle, yeah. I never visited that city, but I guess when times will be a little bit better, I guess I still need to revisit Holland, because I have some friends there. Some of them even .NET developers, by the way. So yeah, and maybe I'll pay them a visit soon enough. Okay, but the first destination I guess that I'll have to visit this year might be Austria, because my brother is living there. I haven't seen him in, I guess, 2 years, because till now, every time that I wanted to visit him, just 1 week before I would have to go to Austria, or he to come to Romania, there would have been a lockdown. So it was crazy. Okay, so we have this result, and then we kind of like will have this try catch and do our magic here. I have lived 11 years in Holland, and I have been to Zwolle twice. I really liked it. Oh, cool. And by the way, Ronald, Christian is from Estonia. You enjoyed my video about the repository pattern and EF in Blazor. Yeah, that's a topic that kind of like also for me, it created a lot of headaches in a certain period when I was just starting to build Blazor server applications. So I have a bunch of videos actually that try to cover this topic from different angles. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Okay, cool. So now, first of all, if we catch an exception, what actually we'll do here, yes, we have created here on the result dot, we have this add unknown error, because that's what we want to add here to the result, and we just have to provide the message from the exception. That's a method that we have created, I guess, 2 streams ago or something like that. So we just did that. In case we get any exception that is not too specific, that we know exactly what. So in this case, let's try to actually build out the logic here. And by the way, guys, just one thing I wanted to tell you is, if you want to support this stream and this channel in any way, there is this option here right below the text box, or the chat box where you are writing messages, for the super thanks, where you can say a thank you, or to actually use a sticker. There are some cool stickers there made available by YouTube, so you could use one of them, and that would be totally appreciated. But let's continue right now. So the first thing that we actually want to do, let's think about the logic. So first thing that we want to do is we actually want to get the post, including the interactions, because once again, we follow this idea of having aggregates, and the post is an aggregate, and if we want to alter something to our post, then the idea is that we just want to remove or to do anything that we want to do through the aggregate route itself. So var post equals await context dot posts, and I guess we might go here include, because for the post we actually want to include the interactions, and then we can say first all default async, and the condition would be we're looking for a post for which the post ID equals to we have it in a request. Should be like that. Okay, so that would grab us the post. Now, here already there is one thing that we have to actually specify. So if a post is null, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I am at video 1 of this series and eventually I will be catching up, but I want to request you to make a playlist of the series on the channel. I'm not sure if it's there. It is. There is a playlist. It's called ASP.NET Core API from scratch with CQRS, and it's a playlist that contains only this video and in the exact order. I'm not sure, maybe I don't get your question right, but there is a playlist that contains only the videos from this series. So let me know, Yash, if I didn't understand that correctly. So if we have this post is null, then I guess let me look somewhere else here. We'll find it. If you actually go on the channel homepage, I guess it's the 4th or the 5th section there. So there's definitely a playlist only for that. Like we have, or like there is a playlist only for the ASP.NET Core for beginners that we have done here on this channel till last Monday. You got 16 parts to go. Yeah, there's plenty of stuff here, I guess. Okay, so if post is null, and once again, I just want to be consistent here, and I don't know, maybe in add post comment. So if the post was null, okay, we just add this error not found. Okay. And this post not found, because that's exactly the same one. That's also have, okay, that's a string with a param, so we will have to actually use it exactly like that. So I guess we'll just do it like that. Thank you very much, Christian, for your super sticker. For your thanks. Thank you very much. Highly appreciated. Okay, so I guess we'll just take this out from here and we'll move also here. Because also the error that we actually need here, don't we have that? No. So the error, that's actually here, there's an enum with error codes that actually we have created some custom error codes, usually in most of the applications. I like to do that because when it comes to, well, when your applications are live and even if they are mid-sized, it kind of like helps a little bit to have error codes for different possible errors. It kind of like helps you even to actually search through logs, aggregate logs, and trace things. So I kind of like really like to do that. So this is why we have those one. And here you see that we have here validation errors should be in the range from 100 to 199. Infrastructure errors should be in this range. Then application errors should be in this range, and so on and so forth. So that would be how that works. Now the only thing that I request the post ID, so that is correct. But then the only thing that, so yeah, the idea is that if the post is null, then we just want to already return the result. This add error will already set the error flag on the result to to true, and it will add an error to the list, so we can just return that, because it doesn't really, or we can't really perform other type of logic if we actually didn't find a certain post. And I guess the same thing we'll have to actually do of our interaction equals post interactions first or default, and here we're looking for an interaction for which the ID equals to the interaction ID that we have in the request. So it would be that one. Okay, so something like that. I don't know, maybe just go on a different line. Cool. So if we don't have an interaction, I guess we would have to create something similar here. But the only thing here is that the message should be a little bit different, because in this case, we don't find the interaction, not the post. So let's go here to the error messages. Public const string post interaction not found. And maybe we can have here here maybe we don't want to go into the specific of the ID, so we can just say here maybe interaction not found. Okay, so let me go back here, and then we can say here if interaction equals null, then what we'll want to do here is, once again, result.add errors. Guess the idea is that we would like to add the same error code, not found. But in this case, we'll use a different message, post error messages. And we have this post interaction not found. So that should be the one. And we want to return the result, because in that case, once again, there's no need to actually do that. Now, if this also passes, there is one other check that we would have to do, and that check would be that the author of the interaction should be equal to the author that actually wanted to delete that interaction, and we have extracted the user profile ID from the JWT token, so we can just compare them. In this case, we can have here, I don't know, maybe if interaction dot interaction ID user profile ID not equals to request dot user profile ID. So in that case, we will need to add a more specific error, and I guess in this perspective, we just also need to add an error code here. Maybe remove. I'm very bad with naming, by the way. It should be something like you're not authorized to do that. Direction removal not authorized equals 302, something like that. Yeah, not authorized is too generic, because I want this to be very specific to this exact part that we talk about an interaction. Not authorized, it would be too generic in this case. Okay. However, more information will display in the error message. And let's public const string post interaction. Let's use the same naming that we had previously for the error: interaction removal not authorized. And here cannot remove interaction as you are not the author of the, because you are not its author. Okay, cool. So we can then go back to the handler, and in this case, okay, what does my Steam client want? I don't know. Yeah, that's it. So what will we have here is in this case results dot add error. No, not result mapping. Our result add errors. And here the error code would be interaction removal not authorized, and the message would be post error messages, then this one. Okay, cool. So we will and we'll return the result then. Return result. Okay, and that would do it with the interaction. Okay, so if we go through all these different checks here, that means that well, right now we can even go ahead and do the removal. And if I'm not wrong, on the post, since we are trying to use a rich domain model, we have this remove interaction. We provide the interaction to that or a certain identifier. I don't remember that. Yeah, we should, and we can then provide the interaction itself. Okay. And once this is done, what we can do is context.posts.update. Okay. And here it would be update. This is just giving a not authorized person more information about the internal workings. It's not sure that this message actually will arrive in the front end like it is, but it could be maybe important that this message will be read most probably by somebody that actually looking to logs, and in that case it might be useful. Because once again, that's an API. End users will not use the API, so it will be a single page application that will use that API. So in the end, we use those messages for logging purposes, more or less. But on the other hand, I guess you might be right. So yeah, at least I just explained you the way that I was thinking about this stuff. But now that you mentioned this, we could give far more information than they needed. I don't know. If I want to remove an interaction that is not mine and it doesn't really work, do I really want to understand why it doesn't work or not? I'm not sure. But hey, that's really a community project. So if you think that it might be better, just go to the GitHub repository, open an issue, and propose this change. And yeah, we'll have a chat there, and we can change that at a certain point, because we are using this type of errors also for other resources. So we can have a think about that. That's for sure. So post update, but no, that's not a string what we want to update, but the post itself. Wait, context.save changes async. And once this is done, actually what we can still do is result of payload equals interaction. So that's actually the interaction that we just deleted. And I guess that should be correct. So if we catch an error here, then we'll add that error, and in the end we'll just return the result. Okay, but something went terribly wrong here. How comes we don't have an error message here? Okay, that's strange. Why don't we have an error message here? Okay, because okay, so no, it was just me, well, not noticing that it was actually scrolled right. So yeah, Cool. But I guess that's okay right now how that should be. So we can go back to the controller right now and wire things up together. But not user profile controller. That's not something that we need. It was the other controller. So we can have here var command equals new, how was it called? Remove post interaction. Let's use an object initializer for that. So here we'll want to set, first of all, okay, what's wrong with you? Post ID equals post GUID. Then interaction ID equals interaction GUID. Then user profile ID equals user profile GUID. And that would be the command. So we can just await mediator.send. I'm not sure. Mediator.send the command and the token. And you know, that's actually something that we missed in the command handler. Whenever we do stuff with the database, we need to also specify the cancellation token for that. So first or of default async, and then no cancellation token. Where do we actually do anything else with the database? So that's, I guess, the only call here. The interaction is already here. So I guess the only call to the database that we do is this one, cancellation token. Okay, so we have also added a cancellation token down the stretch. That should help us improve the things. And I don't know, I'm really not sure always what exactly to return here, but usually for deletes and things similar to that, I tend to return a no content. You know, the other option would be to simply say here, but no, we still need the result here. Var result equals, because if we have errors, we want to actually generate an error response. So if result.is error, in that case, we have on the base controller this handle error response method that will generate a consistent response each time we have errors here in the result. So we'll just have result dot have to pass in the errors. Okay. And otherwise, we could even, I don't know, have something like var map equals, we can map that, mapper.map, and we want to map to, okay, what's actually what we want to map here? Post interaction, but in this case, it's from the API contract, the post interaction. So, I don't know, we can have this mapper.map, and we map, of course, from the payload. And then we can just return okay and the map part. So I don't know, what do you prefer to return in these cases for deletes, for instance, or for updates? Do you prefer to return the deleted or updated resource, or do you prefer to just return no content? That would actually be a good question. Let me. I'm actually not 100% sure, but I don't know. I guess in the last month or maybe 1 year or maybe a little bit more, I tend to return no content on deletes. Okay. Okay, if successful. Um, what do you mean by if successful? because if you return no content, that's a successful message. So that's actually a status code in the range 200, which means that it was everything okay. Only that we don't return any content. We just let you know that what you actually wanted has completed successfully. So I'm not sure I get here what you wanted to propose. So if you could extrapolate just a little bit, that would be if the record was updated, deleted. Okay. So if the record was updated or deleted, what you would prefer to return? No content or the record itself? Or something else? I don't know. Cool. I guess in the meantime, we can even try to run this application. And yeah, let's maybe yeah, let's run that. Right now, I don't remember exactly what users do we have and so on, so that we could test this out. But I'm 200 okay without the record if deleted. Okay. I don't know. 200 okay. Yeah. Yeah, but 204, which is no content, is still okay. Okay. When inserted, so on post, then we return 201 created. So on delete, I would surely not want to return 200 okay. That's kind of like a little bit too vague. I don't know. It seems to me like it wouldn't totally make sense. But we should already be signed in here. So let's cancel that one. So what we actually want to do here? We have here this post, and we have these post interactions, okay, for a certain post ID. So let's try that out. So we have here the post ID, and I guess we should get. I guess we should have an interaction for that. Do we have a breakpoint somewhere? Ah, we still have a breakpoint here. Okay, let's just go on. I guess that was from yesterday what we had. Get post interactions. Yes, that's from what we tested yesterday. That's from what we tested yesterday. So yeah, you see that here we actually get this type of interaction. That's a list of interactions for this post. And here we have the type, and we also have the author for that. So we have gone through how we created that yesterday. So yeah, so that's actually the interaction, and the author. So that's actually the user profile ID for that one. Okay, and that's actually the same user profile that I'm right now logged in. UP user profile. Well, let me do that. So if I'm not mistaken, let me just go here and let me just log out and try to log in again, because I remember that I should have also a different user here, which I guess, okay, should be this one. And the password should actually be the same. Okay, yeah, so we do have a user for that. Okay, let's make sure that we copy this correctly. Okay, it would be that one, and let's authorize ourselves again with this one. So authorize, close. So let me just go here to this. Where do we have this interaction? This is the interaction, and this is the interaction ID. Let's maybe also note that in the notepad. I don't know, maybe it would be IN. That should be the interaction, but we'll also need the post. The post is here. Let's name it like that. So post, user profile, and interaction. Okay. And I guess right now we have all the information that that we need to actually test that point or this endpoint here. So it would be this one, try it out. So first of all, we would have to provide a post ID, which should be this one. And then we'll have to specify the interaction ID. And then we do that. And you know that this user profile ID, we don't specify anywhere. The application takes it from the token. Because if I would give the option or the freedom to be specified, then anybody could specify whatever ID they would like. So that would be totally not be secure. So instead, we retrieve that from the token. In that case, we can make sure that we do exactly know who or what user exactly wants to perform some tasks. So yeah, let's try to execute that. And we see that we are already here. So let's see what we have. Okay, that's actually the controller, and I'm not sure that well, I'm not too curious in controller. I guess I have put the breakpoint where I didn't want because I'm curious about this one. Okay, so post. Let's see. So we did get the post, and interactions count. We see that it's 1. So we already have 1 interaction because it was added previously during some other video where we created the interaction. Actually, that was yesterday, to be more precise. So if post is null, that condition is surely not okay. Now the interaction. Let us see. Do we find the interaction? Yes, we did find the interaction, which is okay. But then, okay, this one should go through. But then once again, this user profile ID is this one, and this user profile ID is a different one. So that should totally generate here our error message, and indeed it did that. So let's continue. And that should have then returned us, okay, why did it return a 204? Okay, that was not expected. Let me maybe still put a breakpoint in the controller. So if result is error. Okay. Set breakpoint. Yeah, I want to set a breakpoint. I don't know, not here because we are still awaiting that. If result is error. Okay. Let's try to run that again. What we know is that it actually didn't delete it from the database, so that's something that we already know. But here result is error equals true. Okay, so it is true, but in that case, why didn't it go through this one? Ah, my bad here. Once again, yeah, but the problem is, you know what the problem is? The problem is we have to return this method. We have to return handle error response. Because that's actually returning, so we have to return that. Because it's actually returning us an iAction result. We have to return that. The problem was that we did handle that, but we didn't return it. So it did this type of stuff, but then it still got with... okay, but why did it return 204 no content? That's once again strange. That's once again a little bit strange. But okay, now that we have done that, let's maybe run this application again. Also Alt and F5 to make sure that we are in debug mode. So. Of course, this browser, new browser open, but we don't really care about that for now, at least. So let me go back here. Failed to fetch. Okay. Probably because we have. Let's execute that again because we have closed the application. So let's click on continue. Let's click once again on continue. Okay, so result is error. So this time I would expect go back to the browser. 400 bad request, cannot remove interaction as you are not its author. So that kind of worked. Now let's have one that actually should be okay. And I guess, yeah, let's, because I haven't really noted down the token for the other user. So I guess we'll have to log in again. Sorry, just need to log in with this other endpoint. And we do this in the other browser tab, and we'll do this user, and we know that this is actually the author of the interaction itself. So we did execute that, and we did get back a JWT token. So let's just copy that and authorize ourselves. Okay, authorize, close. So let's go then back to this one, remove interaction. So post ID, it should be this one. Okay, try it out first. Then interaction ID, it should be this one. Once again, user profile ID, we don't need to provide because the application takes it from our JWT token. So let's execute that. Okay, so we get here into this controller first, then we get into the handler. Let's go one by one. So post, await, okay, we get the post. That should work, we already know that. The interaction is also found. And now here the user profile ID should be equal to this one, and that's correct. So in this case, we just remove the interaction, we update the post, we save that to the database, and yeah, we have this payload that we set, and yeah, we can then just click on continue. And here result is error is false. So in that case, we should just map that. So what do we have here mapped? Author, interaction ID, and the type. Okay, so the mapping is correct. So what was the problem then previously? I'm not sure. So okay, let's check the browser. Oh, actually it was okay. It returned this 200 with this body. So this is actually more or less the interaction that we just wanted to return. So yeah, I guess this kind of like works right now. Right now we are able to actually remove an interaction only if we are the author of that interaction. Otherwise, we are actually not able to do that. To just have a new interaction in the systems, maybe let's do just that. Try it out. Now 0 would be for like, 1 would be, I guess, for something like we have called dislike. So I guess we can just execute that. We have to specify the post ID, of course. Okay. So let's execute it. And I guess we have a breakpoint here from yesterday. So let's just remove that and continue. Okay. So we did really get that. Okay, then we can even go and show all interactions for this post. So execute. So yeah, this one is the dislike and this is the author, and yeah, everything should be fine. Cool. So I guess we can see that we have actually right now implemented that issue that we have started from actually. So it was this one. So probably afterwards, although I guess I didn't create a branch for that, so probably I'll just push that to main again. But yeah, I guess maybe we can just, I don't know, implemented, close with comment, and yeah, that issue is done right now. Cool. Guys, what I would like to do is, I would like to take a short break, and I would like to still continue for a while to actually maybe start to work on a different user story. and I don't know, maybe probably for 1 hour. But let's have a, I don't know, between 5 and 10 minutes break. Maybe even you want to grab something to drink or something similar. And I hope that you will still hold on and be here when I'm back. And I promise you, it will not be longer. Probably it will be less than 10 minutes, but I'll be definitely back. So stay tuned, and we'll hear each other just in a few minutes. Okay, so we are back. Really sorry, I think it was just a little bit more than 10 minutes. So yeah, sorry for that. And I see that Christian wanted to go to sleep. Okay, yeah, probably he's already gone. Still good night, and thank you very much for having joined. And yeah, thank you very much for the super thanks that you actually posted here in the chat. And by the way, that's actually a feature that if you want to support this channel and this stream and the content that we are doing here, there's right below the chat box, there's that super thanks button that you can use, or maybe just use a sticker from there. There are some cool stickers there, and that would be highly appreciated. Okay, good. So let's we have finished with that part, with that story, but we still have here some other issues, and there was one that I actually wanted to do here. I guess it would be the change delete user profile behavior. So the idea is right now, let me just mark this as in progress also. Okay, where is it? In progress. Okay. So the idea is that right now we have this user profiles endpoints, and we have a delete method there. And actually what we do here is in the application is that we actually, when we create or when we register a user, we actually tie these two operations together. So when we create an identity user, we also create a user profile for that. And the other thing that we want to do is, of course, we want to have kind of like a similar behavior when we want to delete. So we these two should always go together. So in that case, I guess we should create a delete endpoint on the identity controller. And yeah, it should be authorized, of course, and yeah, implement the needed commands and handlers, of course, that's only one, and make sure that only the owner of the user profile can delete that. And that's something that we can check. Actually it's not the user profile, but the owner of the identity user itself. But we already have an extension method that will actually get our identity user ID from the GWT token, and then the delete command handler should perform the following action: delete user profile. I guess there might be some things there that happened, and delete this associated identity user, and everything should be wrapped into a transaction. So yeah, that's actually what we want to implement there. Let's just grab another drink and let's get started with that. Let's maybe just, I don't know, clean up a little bit here so we don't need all these open files anymore. I'm not sure if there is a command or something that would close all the open files, but for now we do this manually. Okay, so let me check exactly what it is required. So if we go to the API, let me mute the music. Sorry for that. Sorry that we had very loud music. I put music when I go on break or before the stream starts, and then unfortunately I sometimes forget actually to tune it down or to mute it, but that should be solved right now. Cool. So where do we have here? We can, I guess, these are the contracts, so that's not something that we care about. And here we have this identity controller, and in this identity controller right now we actually have this public async task login and register. So we should have here also something like public async task of action result, how delete count, let's call it that way. So what do we actually need here? First of all, that would map to an delete. That's okay. And then I guess for this one we will also need let's to get rid of the error, let's just return an okay right now. Okay, so that one should be okay. Now what we want to do here is, let me go to the API routes, and for the user profile identity, so we'll have here public constant string. We have to create an API route for that. Let's call it count removal equals, and here it would be, so slash identity, it would be the base, and then I guess we'll have something like identity user ID, and I guess that would actually be it. And let's maybe call this identity by ID. Okay, so that would be the API route for that. Cool, so let's go back to the identity controller here, and in this identity controller, let's specify a route. Okay, and that would be API routes dot identity, and here identity by ID, that would be the route. Here we will then also have a GUID, so we'll need this validate GUID. And how did we call that? Let's just check back here. Identity user ID. Okay, so let's go back to the identity controller, and that would be the key that our action filter will actually look into to validate if the GUID is of a correct format. So that would actually do that. And then we'll need this, of course, this will arrive as a string here. And we'll also need the cancellation token. Cancellation token. That's generated by ASP.NET Core per request, so we can just use it here. Okay, what else do we need? This one needs to be authorized. So all the others, they are not authorized because it's login and register, so you don't have a token yet. But this one should be authorized. And let me go back here to this controller. Let me maybe just remove these breakpoints because here we have this one. So we'll just use this here. Right now we don't have too complex authorization policies. We just have this that we want to, that the user should actually be authenticated. So that's the only thing actually. So if we go back to the identity, but not here, but here. So if we place this here, it means that we can delete only if we are authorized. And I guess from the perspective of this operation, I guess that's everything that we will need on this controller. Okay, so let's take go this next step and think about what we'll need here as variables for our command, and it would be the identity user GUID, and that would be equal to GUID parse, and this identity user ID. So that's what we are parsing. Since we have this this validate GUID attribute that kind of like checks if that is a valid GUID, here we can just parse that, because if the execution gets there, it means that the GUID is already valid. So there's no need to actually try that out again. And I guess that's actually the only thing that we would need, because if we have this identity user GUID, then I guess we can get everything that we need from the database. Cool. So this means that we can go over to the our API or to our application layer in the identity folder. So we'll have this command. We'll have to add a command here. And how should we call that? Remove account. Let's call it that way. Public UID identity user ID, and that's actually everything that we need. Of course, we need to make this be an I request that's coming from mediator, and it would be an I request of operation result. I'm not sure exactly what we should return here, because we don't really want to return the entire user identity, because that's actually let's just return, I don't know, a bool that would kind of return true if everything was okay, and it would return false if it's not. Okay, and then we have in the handlers folder, let's say here, add a new class, move count handler. So that would be an I request handler. Oh, and first of all, we should specify the command, so it would be remove account. And then the response, which would be an operation result of bool in this case. And of course, we need to implement this interface. Yeah. So we'll need the data context, which is our DB context. So private read only. By the way, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If you just want to spare a few seconds, just let me know where are you watching from. That would be highly appreciated. So if you are the first time to this or at this live stream, I am streaming from Romania in Timișoara. But I would really like to get to know you better. So private read only data context. Then we need the constructor, and in the constructor we'll also get a data context. Data context, by the way, is our DB context class. So it's how we call that. Equals like that. And this should be async. Let's maybe just move this on a separate line. Cool. And in this handle method, let's not throw anything. Let's not throw anything here, but instead let's var result equals new operation result of bool. Okay. Then just return result. And in the meantime, we'll do a bunch of different other stuff. So first of all, we'll wrap everything in a try catch. If we get a certain exception, then we have on this result dot add the unknown error. And here we just have to specify the message that we get in the exception. So that would be okay with that. So here we can then start to implement our logic that we want here. Okay, so first of all, what we want to do here? First of all, we actually want to get the identity user. So for identity user equals await context, even though I guess we can get this like that. This DB set we actually inherit from the identity DB context. So users first or default async. And we want to get an identity user for which the ID equals request dot identity user ID. So it should be something like that, I guess. Or what's the problem here? I guess that's a string here, or yeah, that's a string. That's a string. Okay. So let's just move this on a separate line. Identity user ID dot to string. And now that should be fine. Okay. And here, of course, is we have first to check if identity user equals null. Then we can just throw a not found exception. Result dot add error. I guess we need to come here. Non-existent identity user. We already have that, so we don't have to care about that. So error code Let me check what we have here on error codes. Incorrect password not found. Validate identity creation failed. Identity user already exists. Post identity user does not exist. Okay. That's the exception that we want, and the message would be identity error messages, and from there identity user non-existent identity user. I guess that would be what we want here. And then we just don't want to go further. We'll just return the result. Okay. So we will just return the result in that case. Now, if that's okay, the second thing that I would like to do is maybe also var user profile, and here I guess we can have a wait context dot why context dot user profiles first or default async. Let's maybe place this on a separate line. And by the way, here we also need to provide the cancellation token. Of course, here we would need a comma here. Okay, and then the thing that we want to do here, we are looking for user profile, and we are looking for a user profile for which the identity ID equals to request dot identity user ID dot toString, because it's still a string. And let's maybe also place this on a different line, because we also need to provide a cancellation token. Cancellation token. Okay. So now we get user profile. Now, if the problem is with user profile, okay, I guess, yeah, I missed a semicolon here. Now, the same check we need to do here. So if user profile equals null, well, in that case, we will have identity error messages, not existent identity user, incorrect password, identity already exists. Okay. So if we also create user profile here or delete user profile, let's have here public. But I guess no, I guess we already have a message like that. It's not here in the identity error messages, but it's in the user profile error messages. Where is that? I guess it should be here. User profile error messages, and probably we'll already have that. So in that case, we'll have result.add error, error code not found. In this case, the message would be user profile error messages and user profile not found. So it's exactly what we needed here. And then we'll just return the result. Okay, cool. So then the other check that we need to do here is that the ID of this identity user should be equal to the ID of the user that actually makes the request, and that one we can get actually from the token, but we need actually to get that from the token. So let's also go back to the command, because that's the identity user ID public GUID requester GUID. So that would be the ID of the one that, of that person that actually wants to perform this delete. So in that case, we also need to go to the controller, post controller, not post, identity controller, and we'll also need here var requester GUID equals HTTP context, and on the HTTP context we have actually an extension method get identity ID claims value, and that would get us the identity claim from the JWT token. Yeah, and yeah, so we will have that here. What's the problem here? It's never used. Okay, we'll use that, Rider. We'll use that. Don't worry about that. Cool. So right now we need also to place this on the, or I guess we already did that. So we can go back to the handler. Then there's the last check that we need to make here. So if identity user dot ID is not equal to request dot request or GUID dot string. So in that case, I guess here we will need to add here a message, and it would be something like public const string unauthorized account removal cannot remove account as you are not the owner, or you are not its owner. So something like that. That would be the error message that we want to show back. So it would be results dot error. And I guess also in error codes we should add something. I guess that would be an application level. Or no, we have here received infrastructure error should be in the range of 200 to 299. But actually that's not really an infrastructure error. So here is that, so that shouldn't be an infrastructure error. That should actually be, maybe we can just move that. So that should not be an infrastructure error. That's an application error. Now, identity creation failed. Identity user does not exist. An incorrect password. That's actually all of them are application. So it would be 303. Actually, except for this first one, all of them should be actually application errors, because it's not something that happens in the infrastructure. It's application specific logic that fails here. So incorrect password here, unauthorized account removal. Okay, we have to change this. This would be then 304. That would be then 305. Okay, something like that. And unauthorized account removal be then 306. Something like that. Cool. So right now we can just use that in our handler. Result.add error, and the error code, and then it should be this one, and the message that we want to display is identity error messages unauthorized account removal, something like that. Maybe move that on a separate line, and then of course we just want to return the result because it doesn't really make sense to do anything else, so we'll just return that. Okay, good. So we should be good with that right now. So after all checks have passed, then the last thing that we can do here is actually we want to remove a lot of stuff here. And actually, to make sure that everything is or happens correctly, let's maybe, I don't know, thinking. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do is we need to delete the user profile. So it would be then context.userprofiles.remove. Okay, and how did we call that? User profile. So that's what we want to remove. Then context.users dot remove, and then here we'll have the identity user, and then await a context.save changes async, and the cancellation token. Well, and if everything is okay, then well, we'll simply result.payload. We'll set this to true because it was successful. Otherwise, it will be false because false is actually the default value. So that's actually the command handler for that. Okay. So yeah, let's actually try to do that. Cool. We have the command handler, so we should be maybe just let's have a breakpoint here because we'll want to test that. Right now we can wire everything up together if we go here in our identity controller. So what we do here in our identity controller is we need to instantiate a new command for command equals remove count. And then here I would have the identity user. What we actually have here? Identity user ID. Okay. Equals. Okay, what is the problem here? Cannot resolve symbol identity user ID. Why can't you? It's public ID, identity user ID. It's also public here. We don't have any errors. So why can't you just application identity comments? So yeah, identity user ID equals. What am I doing wrong here? That's strange. That's really strange here. Would be the identity user GUID. I guess I don't know. Okay, new. Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Thank you very much, Wolfgang. Thank you very much, Wolfgang, and welcome back here to the stream. So here we'll have the user. My god, what's happening here? Requester GUID. Okay, maybe I'm just a little bit too tired, but we'll end this soon enough, I guess. And that would be equals to requester GUID. It would be that one. Okay, so we have the command. Then var result equals await mediator dot send command and token. Okay, now if the result is error, if result is error, in that case return handle response, handle error response, and result.errors. That will return a customized bad request response. Otherwise, we will just return, in this case, let's just return no contact. Okay. So I guess that we should right now be good to go. So let's actually run this and test this out. Actually, the first thing that we will test here is that we are not able to delete something without being authorized. So we have this user profile ID and interaction. I guess we don't really have an identity user ID. Oh, that's okay, that's bad. That's actually bad because everywhere we actually So I guess we'll still leave this as a work in progress for now. The problem is that we are not returning anywhere this identity user ID at all. Um, though we could actually do something here. So let's first let's log in here. Try it out. And let's log in with this user. Okay. Because when we log in with this user, we can get user profiles. And then from the user profiles, we have the identity user ID. I guess we have it. I'm not sure if that's also part of the contract. So yeah, we'll have to see, I guess. If not, we'll have to actually rethink and refactor a little bit this type of things because we need to expose this one, or maybe just use the user profile ID instead of the identity ID. We'll see. We'll actually see, but that would be conceptually wrong, I guess, because we try to actually remove an identity user, not user profile. Of course, when we remove the identity user, we also remove the user profile, but that's yeah, that's the application logic. So that would be against the REST principles. Okay, so right now, if we go to user profiles, I guess we can get this one, and I'm not sure, but hopefully, what we have here. Will succeeded with warnings. Okay, don't really care about that. Okay, so yeah, we have then two user profiles, which one of them is this one, and yeah, we don't have the ID of the identity user itself. But you know what? For now, I guess we can take it from the token. I guess we can take it from the token, and it should be this one. Okay, and yeah, let's maybe also note that down. Okay, so it should be this one. Cool. Now let's first try out. Let's first I guess we also have the JSON web token there. So yeah, that's actually okay. So let's log out here and close. And let's go to here, this delete identity user, and that's actually the ID of the identity user. So let's execute that. And that's 401 not authorized. That's cool. That's actually very, very cool. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, although a thing that I don't like here, I'm not sure what I was doing wrong. Let's get posts. We do receive that the same. Yeah, it's 401 not authorized. I guess for not authorized, we should also return some more detailed errors here. But yeah, we'll look into that maybe at a certain point. So the first thing is that we were not able to really delete here an identity that actually didn't belong to us. So if we go back here and let's just copy the JWT token and let's log in again, authorize, close, then delete, execute. Okay, so now we hit the breakpoint, and right now we are in the controller, which is okay. So if we click here on continue, I guess right now we are in the handler. Let's see if everything goes right. And what we will do, I guess I will not go through with also the part where we delete things, because if we prove that that actually works here, it's user.example.com. So we did find the identity user. We also did find the user profile, which is kind of cool. Or maybe we will just do that. Florindo Midfield, shout out and thank you very much for your super thanks. Thank you very, very, very much. I highly appreciate that. Okay, so we have here this user profile, which is not null, so that's not an error. So the identity user ID right now should be 4E65 or something like that, and it's the same. So that's also correct. Now what we'll do here is user profile remove. So right now we just remove the profiles and then the identity user. I'm not sure. Should we even do that? I don't know. Let's do that and see if we get an error or something like that when we save the changes. No, we didn't get any error. So we just I don't know. Let's click here on continue, and that should return us a no content. Okay, 204 no content. So that's correct. Now, what I'm curious, because that's actually nice. Theoretically, now the user was deleted. Am I still able to execute things? Yeah, I'm still able to execute things. One other thing that we might actually need to maybe do is that after we do this deletion, that we actually sign the user out. So that would also be something that that we might actually need to do. Sign the user out afterwards. Or maybe send a notification. That might be a good reason to implement maybe mediator notifications, because we still want to complete this request, but also sign the user out. Okay, so I will think about that right now, but the idea is that clearly right now, if you want to log in, that login wouldn't work anymore. So let me just prove that it was deleted. So if we go to user profiles and get, where we want to get a list of user profiles. So right now we see that it's just one user profile. So we actually don't have more user profile and posts. Not sure which user actually did that post. Post ID, user profile ID, I don't know, hello world, whatever. So that kind of like works. Yeah, so it seems that that it works properly here, or this feature that we have implemented. Now, the only thing that we still need to do here is, as we were looking into our description here, is that we should actually delete all the operations or delete the delete option or feature that we have on user profile endpoint. So yeah, let's just go there, and it would be on user profiles controller. So first of all, HTTP get patch delete. Yeah, here we also had this message. So right now we don't actually need that anymore. So this delete is not needed. And then it means that we also have to delete from the user profile. We have the command delete user profile. That one is not needed anymore. So let's, where is it? Edit and delete, I guess. Corinne, by the way, where are you from in Romania? Which city? Okay, and of course the command handler needs to be deleted because we don't need it anymore. So let's delete that. And right now, I guess the application should still be should be fine. So let's, I don't know, let's maybe run it again. This time maybe not with the debugger because it's not really important for us right now. But okay, and if we check user profiles, we don't have the delete anymore. We just get all users, get user profiles by ID, and then user profiles and the patch, and that's actually everything that that we have right now. So yeah, I guess then that issue is actually also resolved here in this case. So we can just close that. Cool. So then we got rid of a few other issues. So I guess until we will go to actually implement the front end in Blazor WebAssembly, I guess I just want to change the changes to the identity endpoints. That's something that we would need to do. Let's maybe also just mark that I will do this on stream. Maybe just also assign to myself. labels. It's not in progress, but it's like that. Okay. And so we want to add the friend request functionality. That would be kind of like a little bit of work to do. Probably we'll do this, I don't know, maybe this week at some point. That would be nice. Yeah, this issue is still an ongoing discussion, so sorry. And yeah, this issue, so I guess there these two issues need to still be implemented, and maybe then we'll start, or probably then we'll start to implement also the front end in Blazor WebAssembly. So yeah, I guess, guys, that's pretty much it for today. So it's more than 2 hours of coding. I guess we've got pretty far for today. We have implemented 2 different issues, and I'm quite happy with the outcome. I would just want to say a huge thank you for all of you that have joined and have also joined the chat. A super shout out to those of you who have actually also used the super thanks or super stickers, which were Florin from Romania and Christian from Estonia, which he did that just sometime earlier. But thank you very much, guys. That's highly appreciated. And also a huge thank you to everybody that actually got involved here in the chat. It's also a nice experience for me to actually also get to know a little bit more about you. So thank you very much all for joining. And yeah, if you're still here and if you're not subscribed to this channel, then feel free to subscribe to be notified whenever something new happens here on the Code Wrinkles channel, because we tend to do some new stuff very, very frequently, and you might want to check that out. This being said, once again, thank you very, very much for being here and watching, and take care, stay safe, and let's catch up next time. So have a good night. Bye.